Crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here, and in honor of my power being restored, and crossing fingers that it stays restored, we are doing the highly requested tutorial where we are going to cut out patterned paper featuring Nest of Winter. There are a couple tips and tricks for this paper, but mostly it cuts like a dream. And it is back in stock. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so I appreciate it if you shop with me and get this paper, and then you can try this out for yourself. In a few minutes after well, not a few minutes, but maybe 30 minutes or so after I do all the different tips and tricks where we cut out a few different types of paper, I will show you the 9 projects I created using these beautiful embellishments from the Nest of Winter. There is an entire suite of products around this paper, but it's just that not all of them are available right now, but this is available, this paper. And I did cut out some of the sentiments from Wintry Treetops, which is available. This particular stamp set I just checked, and it is a cling stamp set. That means these are rubber stamps, and they're available really well. And then this one is not yet. It's called Wintry Treetops Dies. Not available at this moment. The dies has this really unique, like, sort of, what do I want to say? Like a frame to it. A really cool frame. And I'm not sure about these gems if they're available, but these are all the different things that are part of this suite. Earth tones, shimmer gems, natural tones, linen thread. I didn't check everything because I just got power back and we had a lot of cleaning up to do. And let's see, what's this one? Birchwood. I'm in Georgia. I didn't have it as bad as other people, so I'm not complaining, just stating a fact. Birchwood 3D embossing folder. I'm thinking all these things are part of that suite. But honestly, I didn't even check into it before I got on here, except to check that the Wintry Treetops stamp set was available and that the paper I'm showing you is available. All right, so I'm going to put this all back together into my bin. So we have, just so you know, and I also have another one I used for these sentiments. And I'll just mention my bingo coming up, and then we'll get started. So that sentiment I used, or those sentiments, and then this one I'm going to feature in an upcoming bingo. So I thought, why not play around with this too and use some Christmas label sentiments with some Christmas colors? So you're going to get to see them as well. All righty. So I have a bingo coming up, and I thought I'd put a little piece of paper here. La, la, la. Where could it be? Under my machine. Let's see if it's under all this paper. I'm going to show you. I'm going to go through these sheets, but maybe we'll find the little sheet with the bingo on it. Possibly. Okay, so it's called Festive Bingo. And those of you that sign up are getting a package of the festive, and we're out of it now. So I should say the first one signing up. Until I run out of this, and then I'll have to substitute or give it to you later. But you're getting this really cool festive ephemera paper. And then you need to have your own stamp set. It doesn't matter if you have my stamp set or a different stamp set that I'm using, but I am featuring this. This is going to be like an insert in the bingo. So here's the date of the bingo, October 25th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. It's a virtual bingo. So you can join into that bingo from wherever you're at, and then prizes you have to be in the U.S. to actually earn prizes at my bingo, just because of the rules at Stampin' Up. But we have Festive Bingo. You have your Christmas labels bundle. That's this bundle. And a little bit festive designer series paper ready for crafting. Okay, so that goes on for a couple hours, and we play 4 rounds of bingo. So I played around with these labels. They're fantastic. I mean, check this out. Oh my goodness, I love these dies. Absolutely, you want to get the bundle, even just if you just get it for the dies. All right, so the paper we're cutting out. Now, back to the Nest of Winter. It's double-sided, and of course, you wouldn't cut out a piece like this. The trick with the ScanNCut is you always need a lot of contrast around your images. So you're going to try to cut out pieces that are not like this, where the bird is sitting on the branch, right? Not to mention that makes a great card background, so we wouldn't cut out this piece here. But this piece of Nest of Winter, if you wanted to isolate this bird, that would be fine. It'd be easy to cut out because there's contrast amongst on the background. I know it without even trying. However, I use this as a card background, right? And then the little feet. These are cute as a card background too, the little bird feet, bird prints. Then we have some pretty beautiful pussy willows, I guess they're called, right? Maybe there's another name for them. I'm sure you guys will tell me. Birchwood background, beautiful. So if you're going to cut out the ScanNCut paper here for the Nest of Winter, I recommend this piece here, which is just easy peasy. And I'll tell you about the little trick for that piece, because we have birds, and except for the little gap in the head there, it's just beautiful. Now that piece, the pool party, is beautiful behind it. Okay, now again, not this piece. Let's see. This piece we'll cut out. We could just actually start with this piece because it's so easy that we'll cut out these large ones first. Okay, and so that's a second piece I recommend you cut out. And then, of course, this piece, because we can get pine cones, we can get twigs, sprigs, beautiful birds, and most of my projects were created with this piece here. And this would be my backgrounds. And again, use this for backgrounds or cut out this side. Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to do this one first. Now, I didn't go ahead and do a practice run right before this, and my machine has been sitting up for over 5 days, so hopefully humidity is, wasn't so bad. Okay, it's telling me, do you want to, it's even trying to retrieve from previous memory. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to load the mat, and hopefully we don't have any trouble with anything today. If we do, it's only because it needed a rest and it's trying to get back to normal like all of us. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take out my handy tools. So I cut I call it my bucket of crafty goodness, where I cut loads of these a while back, and then I just assembled them during my downtime from the hurricane. I had some time off from work, and I did go to a hotel for part of it because we just couldn't take it anymore. But we mainly, just suffered through it. And again, not as bad as other people, but I did some crafting, which was nice. So let's go ahead and turn off. So what I'm going to do right now is just show you how I loaded the mat and kind of start with how you would, just in case you're new to the ScanNCut, how you would cut out paper from the start to finish. So the first thing I did is I loaded the mat. Now you may have noticed I just turned out the outside light. So when you're scanning, I have an overhead light. It's called a ring light, not an overhead. Overhead light's fine. That's coming from the top. I have a side light. It's called a ring light. Ring meaning there's a big ring around it, and it shines straight through to the ScanNCut. So I don't want to turn that on when I'm scanning because it would mess up the scanner. So when you turn on your machine, you see pattern and scan. If we were to be cutting stamped images or something, if we were cutting, not stamped images, if we're cutting built-in images from the machine like this, we would use the pattern side. All these great things built into the machine. But when we're scanning either stamped images or pattern paper, we always use the scan side. So they're your two choices, no matter which model. I happen to be doing the tutorial on this model, STX 125, right? So you're going to go ahead and click on scan. So whether you have a stamped image or a pattern paper, you're clicking on scan. Now, we're not saving anything we're cutting. We're not saving anything. So we're not going to use the second one, scan to cut data. We're going to use the first one called direct cut because we are directly cutting out what's on our mat. Now, the next thing is, where do you want to store the data? This is temporary storage. So we're going to just store it to the machine temporarily and just leave it like that. The next question is, do you want to use, I'm going to go ahead and scan 12 by 12 area. But if you only want to scan a 6 by 12 by 6 area, you save time scanning just the top of your mat. When you have a big pattern like this, I recommend just using the 12 by 12 because otherwise you'll cut off some patterns in the middle. Now, even though this paper is colored, you're like, oh, it's colored, so why wouldn't I use color recognition mode? Color recognition mode is not necessary for colored paper ever. I shouldn't say ever. 99% of the time, because we just want to recognize the contrast between the paper and the background. So very rarely do I need the color recognition mode. It takes way more time. That's this button here. Always keep it on black and white. Only when your black and white doesn't work, your grayscale black and white doesn't work, then you try color. I have used it a few times. Then we're going to click start. And it's telling me my scanner lever set to 2 because I was cutting thick paper recently. So that's this button here. If you ever get that error message, lower the button so it's not on 2. I was just cutting some vinyl recently. I mean, not recently, several days ago. And we're going to go and start. You're not going to have the option of selecting the size of your paper if you're using a CM350 model or ScanNCut 2. They don't give you that option of the 6 by 12 paper, and you don't have a scanner lever for thick materials. So you only have the choice of just scanning 12 by 12, which is fine. Everything else is the same, except that I'm using auto blade technology because my blade depth does not have to be set. We're going to click OK. Now you can see that it did a beautiful job of selecting these images. You know, for the most part, there's a couple pine needles that may have got cut off a little bit. But when you do a couple things like ignore object size, because we only want, say, the very big pieces of the birds. You know, if you ignore all these like little side parts that are cut off, so ignore things up to about 1 inch or so. If you ignore object size and you add an outline distance of 0.04 around these, you're going to end up getting rid of a lot of the problems of not being able to cut this out. So just go ahead and click on this and add an outline distance of 0.04. And that will alleviate some of the, yeah, see, it's really good now. It'll alleviate a lot of these problems. Like you'll see a branch cut off over here, but it'll alleviate a lot of the problems of, and that's what the outline distance looks like. So let's see how long that will take. Well, actually, let me first edit. I'm going to see if I edit this. Whoa, something's happening with my memory here. I'm not sure what happened there. Something funky happened to my machine. Okay, there we go. So there's a partial bird there I'm going to delete and some partial things down the bottom. So basically, I'm going to get rid of the things I don't want. So you're going to use this button here to toggle through the selection and delete the things you don't want. So any partial birds you see, like I could see that's a partial bird. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. But I pretty much got most of the paper. This one here is partial bird, I'm pretty sure. Now the edges aren't going to cut out anyway, so that's typical. All the rest, I mean, it looks good to me. We're going to find out afterwards if it was, you know, what we cut off. So we're going to click OK. And because this is not real fine detail, I can actually, you know, even speed it up a little. I think it's just trying to put it into memory. Please tell me my machine had a nice rest and is doing okay. I shouldn't have to push OK 3 times, right? So looking around, there's a piece up there. I'm thinking it might be having a little trouble. I'm just getting rid of a couple more things for it. Maybe it's having a little memory issue. Hey, it happens to all of us, right? I mean, come on, let's just try it. Come on. Are you doing okay here? I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm gonna just go and just make a selection up at the top. Just do some from the top, right? Because I think it's trying to hold a lot in its memory right now, and it's not being able to. But if you don't have, you know, 100 files saved on your machine, you might not have this trouble. So one thing I may be doing later, if not doing it right now and troubleshooting right in front of you, is clearing off some of the files on my machine. And I can go ahead and read some comments while it's doing this too. All right. So thank you for the thumbs up while you're watching live. I appreciate it. If you're watching from, even if you're watching it from a TV, it does help the algorithm to like, share the video, and give it thumbs up and make comments. So even if you're just watching it from the TV, please feel free to do that. I wonder if my ScanNCut didn't make it through the hurricane. But you know what? I have another one. I'm about to pull out my other one for this tutorial. Well, actually, I don't have just another one. I have 4 of them, so. I've actually never seen it do this. I've seen it run out of memory before, but I've never seen it actually quite do this. All right, so what I'm grabbing my other machine that's just like this one, and I'm gonna turn it on and see what happens, and we're going to go from there. If anybody comes on, just tell them I'll be right back in the chat. Okay, unplugging and plugging in my other machine. And I'm going to have to just put this one right here. So one way to troubleshoot, right, is, let me just go and turn on my light for a second, is to just, you know, get rid of some things from memory. But I actually think the machine's like got fried or something. It's not doing anything. Like, it's not just a memory issue, it's not doing anything. But and I just turned it back on. It's unplugged. Okay, you said you might have to unplug it. No, it's actually been unplugged for 5 days or like 6 days. Like, I just turned it back on and I didn't cut anything with it. I just did my tutorial. I'm just gonna go ahead and, so it's been unplugged for 5 days. I had a hurricane, so it's not like and my room was so really, really terribly muggy. Right, so we're gonna try it with my other computer. So what am I using? Another SDX 125. Why do I have 2? Or why do I have 4 ScanNCuts? I have 4 ScanNCuts because my first ScanNCut. Okay, wait, let me just go ahead and get back to where we were. Direct cut, ScanNCut, Go ahead and do 12 by 12. I'm getting back to where we were. The reason I have so many is when I was living overseas, my first ScanNCut didn't even have internet connection to it. And that was a model that didn't even work in the US. I got it overseas. The next one had internet. I had an internet activation card, but it didn't have autoblade. So then my channel like got really big, and I started doing a lot of Udemy courses on the ScanNCut, and I started like making it into a business, teaching about the ScanNCut. And then I was overseas, and it was so expensive to ship a ScanNCut overseas for a US model that I just ended up buying a different model and like carrying it in my suitcase. So I would have one like overseas and one in the States. Anyway, that's how come I have so many ScanNCuts. That's why I have like 4 different ones. I just kept upgrading, and then I have 2 of the same ones just so I wouldn't have to carry it back and forth every summer because I was teaching overseas. So I'm ignoring objects that are 1 inch to get rid of the small objects that are not something I want to scan. Secondly, I am going to also go in here and put an outline distance around it, right? And then I'm going to, after I do an outline distance of 0.04, then I'm going to delete, then I'm going to go ahead and edit and delete all the parts I don't want. Okay? So, but I mean, I'm really glad I have this other machine because of right now, like what's happening to the one with like lack of memory, or, you know, I'll just start using this one. I'll finish any course tutorials I have, you know, with this model here. There was a couple vinyl tutorials I'm missing. All right, so let's see if it's a memory issue. There's a branch here, but I'm not worried about it. Let's just see if it was a memory issue or the other one's just what's going on with it. And if this one will cut it, I'm happy. We'll do the happy dance. Yay, okay? So this is what's gonna cut out. And now we're gonna select cut. But now, if you don't have a second machine, which I don't think many of you would, and you can't just grab a different machine like I did, well, what I would say is delete some things from the memory. So before I think that machine is trashed or whatever, or got fried in the hurricane, I think I'm going to delete a bunch of files to give it some more memory because it might not be able to process what I was trying to cut. And then I'll see if I can cut the same exact paper in the same exact way over again to see if that's what it was. Or, you know, we'll compare it to what happens here. Both machines were in my she shed without any. All right, so it's, let's see. I can go to speed. It's at 8 minutes, and I can go ahead and really increase the speed so it doesn't take as long. Okay, and it'll change the time. All right, so it's not going to really be 8 minutes, and we'll stop it during some of this. Now, what's happening now is there's auto blade technology. It is determining the blade depth. It's making a little nick in the mat. So if you ever feel the top of your mat, it makes a little nick in your mat to determine the depth of the mat. Then it makes a little nick in your paper to determine the depth of the paper. And it sets the blade depth accordingly because we're using auto blade technology. Now, if you were using a CM model ScanNCut 2, you would set the blade depth to 3 for designer series paper. Okay. So that's what this looks like. Like if you're using a ScanNCut 2, you have this kind of blade, and you would set the blade depth to 3, right? And the one I'm using right now is called Auto Blade. Okay, so this is an STX model, Auto Blade technology. Definitely reason to upgrade. And use my link, please, if you're going to buy one of these machines, or link to my Amazon store. But I still love my CM models as well, CM 350 models. All right, so let's see. I'm going to say hi to you while it's cutting out all these beautiful birdies. Hello, Brooke from Plant City, Florida. Debbie Salinas, I've missed you too, Debbie. Thank you for being a channel supporter. Yeah, Phil, yeah, you can friend me on Facebook. I was keeping everybody abreast of the storm. I didn't know anything about what was happening in like other states besides Georgia and sort of South Carolina. Some of my friends told me. And then the storm went above us and we lost power. And I didn't get back on until a few days later because we didn't have any internet either. And we just had like one bar. And then I saw what happened in North Carolina. I was like, oh my God, so sad. And Tennessee, parts of Tennessee. But yeah, so first it went to Florida, then Georgia, then South Carolina. And it was really bad. It was a very scary storm. I spent the storm in an RV. And then it was very scary. And then after that, it went up and pummeled, Tennessee and North Carolina. Oh, it's so sad. So hello, Leslie, Upx Stamping. Hello, Nola. Nice to see you again. Okay, it would be nice if Stampin' Up! Made more sentiments for those dies. More sentiments for those dies. I'm not sure which sentiments you're talking about. There's loads of sentiments in the one that I'll be featuring for my bingo. Loads of great sentiments. Oh, you mean if they made more sentiments, like you mean in the spring? Because those dies are so fantastic? Is that what you mean? I think they might. I mean, that would be really cool because those dies are worth getting the whole set. I mean, I like also giving people hot cocoa pouches and stuff. That's pretty fantastic. But I just kind of like, with this wintry treetops, the ones I'm doing now, I'm like, I wasn't really feeling it. There wasn't like, I mean, there was a few sentiments, but I was like, it wasn't like a lot. So I was like, I need to add some more Christmas magic to this. Yes, the CM is certainly a workhorse, but yes, it is much noisier. So that's another reason. Like the CM models, you'd have to set the blade depth, but they're also much noisier. Yes. Thank you, Nola. Good point. Thank you, Colleen, for the thumbs up. Thank you, Lisa Tabor from Ontario. Hello, Angeline Diaz. Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. Hello, Frida. Nice to see you. And Janet. Thank you. Yes, it was unplugged for 5 days, so definitely. Yes, it is like a computer. You have to restart it, but I just restarted it like right before the tutorial. I didn't test cut or anything before the tutorial like I usually do because I was creating, I was still crafting and I cut these out a long time ago to test it, so I didn't need to cut them out recently. Hello, T. Hutch. Thank you for reminding people to give a thumbs up. Hello, Colleen Hill. Nice to see you. And Eileen from Michigan is here. Jean Martelli from Virginia. I got lots of my team members here today, which is very nice. Lala's Crafts is here from Maryland. Yvette, another channel supporter. I love that you're here as well. All right, so what I'm going to do is see what the time is saying. Okay, so it's telling me that there's still a few more minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and, so this is what you're going to do. When you want to stop, just to show you for this part, I'm going to stop and I'm going to quit cutting. Well, I could have, I'm just going to go ahead and move this away. I could have not quit cutting, but the thing is, I want to quit cutting to show you the other papers. And the thing about this is this paper, oh wow, this is great. In fact, it didn't even need to be aligned again. I'm going to go ahead and unload the mat. So I'm going to forget the rest of the paper and do it later, just so you're not waiting. But when you want to remove your images from the mat, you just peel off the paper. And you can either, you're not going to really cut these pieces because they're partial birds anyway. So that's why I isolated them or didn't use them. But you can die cut the pieces. That's what I did. I took my little bucket of crafty goodness and I die cut pieces, little shapes out of these little, or I use this as backgrounds. So no, Christmas wrapping paper does not cut out very well with the ScanNCut, but I have cut out tissue paper. And I mean, I've done it as long as it has, the tissue paper or wrapping paper has a nice plastic texture to it. Like that one paper called, what is it? Take a bow, take a bow, take a bow, right? That has a really good texture to it. So of course that one cuts out really nice because it's like wrapping paper, but it's thicker. Okay, so yes, for beautiful birds. I love this. Okay, let's go ahead and put these on. I'm just going to show you on the back of a piece of shaded spruce here, right? Okay, I was doing some holly stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and put those there so you can see how beautiful they are. So that's why you want that white outline distance around them. So that's how you peel them off your mat. You're going to use you're going to either use your spatula or you're just going to bend the mat like so, and you're going to peel them all off. Now, these ones took up a lot of room on my cards, and I didn't need any extra little backgrounds to them, but I did use backgrounds on some of the smaller patterns. So we'll go ahead and now do the smaller patterns. But you can see how happy I am with like all of these beautiful pieces, okay, for the nest of winter. So in case you're wondering, it's like $12.50 for our paper, and you get 12 sheets of paper. And these are limited edition papers. They won't be around that long. So if you like something, you know, get it now. They've already run out of this, I think, more than once already. I know at least once already. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this piece of paper on there. The small paper, right? And so if you like it, just get it now. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load this paper. Okay, oops. Whoops, 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 whoops. Now, you get to see troubleshooting. Okay, it loaded crooked. Now I'm not putting my hand under there. I'm just going to pull it out. I'm lifting my lever and pulling it out. I could unlock my mat too, but I don't need to. Put my lever back down. Okay. Now I'm going to load the mat again. And hopefully it loads evenly. I mean, the humidity is unbelievable in my she shed. So, I mean, everything, for the fact that I'm even here doing, the fact that my lights and all this stuff is working, we're in good shape already. This is better than I expected already. All right, so now we're going to click on home, and we are going to, I turned out the side light again, right? Turned out the back light. We got pattern and scan. We're going to do direct cut again. We're going to save it to our machine, not to the web. We're going to do the 12. We're going to do the 12x6 area just to get some of these smaller images. Click OK. And still black and white recognition mode. And this time the scan and cut tip and trick I'm going to show you for this one. The first one was just how to scan and cut pattern images, right? That was step 1. So now you know how to do that. Now this, and make an outline distance. This scan and cut tip and trick I'm going to show you is how to layer your pattern paper. How to make cute little backgrounds around your little images that you cut out. Okay, and it will also do some other tips and tricks. So because I selected 12x6, it's only scanned the top of the mat, which you saw was very quick. We're going to still ignore object size, but not too, you're going to ignore object size, but if you start seeing your pine cones disappear, they're disappearing. Oh no, what happened to my pine cones? What happened is I ignored the very objects I'm trying to scan. So go back to a smaller size, get your pine cones back. Here, let's just go ahead and scan it so you can see it. The pine cones start disappearing when you ignore object size. If you start seeing the objects that you're trying to scan disappear, you want to go down to a smaller, ignoring a smaller size. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. And then, so that's one way to get rid of unwanted objects. Another way is to make a selection with your stylus. So you can ignore objects. You can make a selection with your stylus. And you can also, if you unwanted objects, you can delete them with your, in the edit mode like we did on the last part. So let's go ahead and put an outline distance of 0.04 around them. The ones on the edge got cut off. That's fine. We're going to edit out these little bits and pieces that aren't really part of a bird. Like, okay, that one's okay. That's a pine cone. All right, pine needles. All right, these are good. I'm liking these. All right. So far, you understand that I can edit them using the trash can. I can trash the parts I don't want. You can Make a selection to get rid of parts you don't want, or you can ignore object size to get rid of parts you don't want. And then we're going to go ahead and start. I might not, cut all of these, but the idea behind what we're doing next is we're going to cut out some images, right? The birds. And there's great contrast around the bird and the background. See how there's like nothing laying next to it. So I really like when the graphic artist design these things with nice black lines around the outside and nothing next to it. These little snow pieces, the little dots, are like far enough away that you can actually cut around them. All right, so a couple more tips and tricks is if your paper's not very sticky, you might want to add some painter's tape to it. But I don't usually add that till I'm done scanning because that kind of, you don't want to do anything to those registration marks, right? All right, so I'm going to now show you a card to show you what we're doing next, okay? So here's what we're doing next. We're going to get some real red or cherry cobbler, probably real red. We'll just go ahead and cut out, because real red is cherry cobbler and real red are both part of this suite. And we're going to do some layering with these images on this paper, like I did for this card, because it adds so much dimension to the card. And you can also notice I use some Wink of Stella, which is that glitter pen. So we shall go ahead and open up the real red cardstock. Now, one of the things I love about Stampin' Up, one of the many things, is that our papers coordinate with our cardstock, our ribbons, let's see, with our ink, with our alcohol markers, with our regular markers, embellishments. All the products coordinate together. Now, before, I've always been a crafter. Pretty much my whole life. My mom's a seamstress. She's still a crafter, right? She was making, when I was like a baby, she had me in baby braids. She was literally making floats out of paper and just building things. And so I was always a crafter, but it wasn't until probably like 2016 I joined Stampin' Up. And before that, I was buying all kinds of craft materials and trying to coordinate them myself. Go get this and get this from a flea market and a yard sale or the big box stores like, Michael's, Joanne. There was AC Moore, I guess that was called, the craft store. All those things, right? Get all this stuff, try to make it all work, and it never really quite worked because it was always like, there was just never good coordination and things didn't really match. But now I have Stampin' Up! Products, and I really do love using them because how well they coordinate together. And my projects, you're going to see how my projects look professional. Because this color of garden green that's part of this, and so is shaded spruce. Look at that. This is garden green. I don't even like garden green. I'm going to be honest with you. It's my least favorite green. But is it beautiful with this paper? Does it coordinate? Absolutely. It's the exact color. Well, there's also shaded spruce is another kind of green that coordinates. And so is, I think, even granny apple. We have to look on the back of a package to find out all the coordinating colors of this nest of winter. But yeah, I'm the first to say, like, it'll coordinate either, like, even if I don't like a color, sometimes it coordinates. Yeah, we have lots of green in this. Granny apple green and shaded spruce and garden green. So there's 3 greens, right? 3 greens in this paper. All right. AC Moore, Midge knows about AC Moore. I was, like, practically crying when that store went out of business because that's where I bought all my little jars. You may have seen me use little jars. Like, I give people little jars of crafty goodness. I was buying all my little jars and party favors in there. Every week they had like wedding stuff for like 50% off. That store was awesome. And they had all kinds of great seasonal items. But, they went out of business, I think, because a lot of people order online. All right, let me see what the timer's saying. Okay, yeah. Yes, it goes great with all these. Outback Stamping is also saying not a garden green fan, but she does know it goes great with reindeer fun. Yes, it does. Hello, Midge and Marilyn. Yeah, ours closed of yours too. And Deborah from New South Wales, Australia. Minera Rios from Puerto Rico. Nice to see you. Carolina R. Glad you like this. There's more, but wait, there's more. And yeah, wrapping paper. I already answered the question about wrapping. Okay. Colleen Hill. Okay, make sure I said hi to everybody. Star Patrick from Ohio. All right, I think since it's less than a minute, I'm just going to let it finish out. Oops. Look at that. Did you notice how it went from a minute to 1 second? So there's another reason for that is because it only goes in minute increments. It doesn't go like, oh, it's going to take 30 seconds. So when you see a minute, it means less than a minute, right? That's what it means. All right, so here's how to unload the paper. You click OK. Now, don't clear your screen, whatever you do. All right, don't clear your screen. We just unload the paper. In fact, it's probably better I didn't unload the paper because sometimes I accidentally clear my screen, but I did need it to, I needed to get all this stuff off. So that's why I did it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the light so I'll kind of talk you through this next part. So you have these beautiful images. Now, if you want, you could get out a different mat just to save time. And then you would know which one matches up with which. Okay, so we have a bird here, and there's the same bird here, and it's the same, maybe this one too. However, when we put an outline distance around them, the little shapes might be slightly different for each of these. So we can match them up better by just getting it like a new mat. And it's always good to have, a lot of mats anyway, have extra mats. Plus, I don't have to make you wait for me to unload the mat. So I'm going to take a piece of real red cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and load it onto the mat. I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. And there's a reason is because there's nothing on the edges of my mat right now. Like there's no design over here. I don't think there is really. And I can go ahead and put tape on this part. So I'm putting a piece of real red cardstock. That's what I'm doing. And I'm going to go ahead and load the mat again. Now, what I'm doing is taking the same thing that we've already cut, and the thing I'm teaching right now is how to go about making these cute little patterns to go around the outside of these images. So let's go ahead and go back one step. Now, don't go back more than one step or you lose everything, or don't go back too many steps. Actually, you go back more than one. And we want to take we're only going back one step to this place where it says outline distance. And we are changing it from 0.04 to 0.08, not 0.012, 0.08, 0.12, because if you go up any higher, it starts to they start to overlap and mush into each other. You can make bigger outline distances, but then you'd have to delete some things between them. It'd be a little bit too crowded. Okay, we're going to click OK. OK. And it's going to now cut these same things we just cut, but with a big outline distance. I'm going to click on cut. Okay, so we're not doing anything different except we're going back, and instead of, well, I'll show you, I'll pull them off the mat while we're talking. Instead of 0.04, we are now 0.08. Now, hopefully, there's nothing that's going to cut on the outside of this mat, like over here. Hopefully. So now, it's going to create a piece, right? Now, I could leave, now the pine cones really don't matter, but if you really want to match these up correctly, you would leave these on your mat till later, and then you could just match up the pieces right where they go. Now, you're saying, well, how is that different than this one? Because each one was scanned differently, they might be slightly different, and it would just look ever so slightly more professional. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just taking off the parts that don't really matter, that I layered them up. Honestly, I didn't need to layer the pine cones at all, like these other pieces. I probably could have deleted all them, but I really just want to layer the birds. Because the birds are really awesome when they're layered up. So we're going to just go here and get rid of all these little bits and pieces. And yes, my mat is dirty. All right, it's telling me it's getting stuck. I'm stuck on you. So when it gets a little stuck, it must have reached a little hump. It's just telling me. So here's a little troubleshooting tip. When it tells you to go to lever 2, just go to lever 2. It just means it might have hit a little hump on there. And it doesn't, everything looks like it's going well, but it could have hit a little hump in the mat, thinking it was thicker, or the paper started folding up a little. I probably won't do the whole 5 minutes of that one just to save you time. But let's go ahead and get these little guys off. All right, so these little pieces I got off. Now, the reason I'm letting it go a little further is just to make sure I have one of each of the ones I want to show you. And then we're going to layer them. So pull out your dimensionals. I'm just pulling out some mini dimensionals just to show you how to do this. And it looks like it's going well. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and quit the rest because it's not necessary to, So to quit the rest, you just go stop, quit, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. All right, you get the idea. All right, so now what we've done is we have created layers, okay? So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go right here, and we're going to go right here, and we're going to look at that, and it's going to layer up perfectly. See what I mean? I pulled that one from that same part of the mat. Now you're saying, well, how does that differ from the other one? Well, it probably doesn't, right? It probably doesn't. So let's take this one though. Let's take it and let's take this little part. I mean, it could be that there's a little slight difference, right? But why risk it? Why not just match it the exact way by taking the exact ones that cut out? Yeah, see, they are different. This one didn't cut the inside of the white part and that one did. I mean, because you know why? The scanner is a scanner, and it's not the same on every part of the scanner. Like there's different, what's the word? Dirt, or different parts of the scanner scan better than other parts of the scanner. So you definitely want to use dimensionals for this. These are called our mini black dimensionals. We also have mini white dimensionals. And I think you get like 300 or 600 in a pack. You get a lot. Depends on maybe which pack. Beautiful. So that's your dimension, and let's put it on the shaded spruce. Good. Let's dump off. I'm going to dump off some of them, and we'll go ahead and put that there. In fact, that would be really nice to have another layer of shaded spruce. And I'll show you how to do another layer. We're not going to, cut the other layer, make you wait for the other layer, but we're going to show you how you would do that because we're having fun with electricity. So I'll tell you, you guys should do this right now if you haven't done this already in your house. This has nothing to do with ScanNCut. But one thing I learned from being in storms and not having water, and one time we even had a little fire in our well house and we didn't have water, enough water to put it out. So one thing you need to do, because if your power ever goes out, for whatever reason, a down tree or whatever, you need to have extra water. So just take your extra jugs of water and fill up water so that you can still flush your toilets. We were able to still do that, and put out any fires if you need to. Even small little fires, you need water. So I have about, 20 gallons right now, I think, filled up. But you need to have, I didn't have enough. I think that wasn't enough for all those days. But you need to have a lot of water. That's my point. In case this happens. Oops. Which one was that? Let's put this one. This one was here. So I don't save an old milk container because I don't want to waste so much water washing out the milk. But I do save every time I have a gallon jug or when you're done with the vinegar, don't save detergent. Don't save laundry detergent container because that's too much water to rinse out the container. Just a regular water container. And just fill up as many as you can. And you can also fill out a big drum outside, or you can fill up a bathtub if you can, fill up a bathtub that you can use for flushing, and fill up different things because then you can still flush your toilets. It's I'm just saying, you really need to do it. And don't think this can never happen to you because maybe you think, oh, I'm not going to get flooded. I don't live near a river. Or you don't think but anything, it can happen to anybody at any time. Your power can go out. And I've lived in many places where I've had, been in hurricanes and typhoons. And so I'm used to power outages. All right, last tip and trick will be this last piece of paper I'm going to show you is this one. And it's just a very quick little tip and trick for this one. And grabbing a pencil, excuse me. I'm just looking for a pencil as I'm talking to you. I mean, you can use a pen, but you want to use probably a sticky note if you don't have a pencil. I'm looking for a pencil. Hello, Karen Gallagher from Wellington, New Zealand. Hello, T. Barnes. Hello, Minerva Rios. Minerva Rios. Okay, when you don't have a pencil, this is your other trick. This is in lieu of a pencil or a pen. What I'm trying to do is like when you have these little pieces of the bird that are not complete, okay, you want to make sure you put a little pencil around them. But I'm gonna use the washi tape trick. Oh, can you see what I'm doing? I'm using a washi tape trick. Okay, so only because I honestly can't. I know you're probably like, how can you not find a pencil in your whole craft room? Because the whole craft room is like torn apart right now. All right, so let's go like this. Go like this. Basically, what I'm trying to do is just fill in those little gaps around this little bird on its little head. Okay, so this one should scan just fine. This bird is fine. These little cherries are fine. It's just that whenever you have a little gap like that in the head, you know, sometimes it doesn't scan in real well. It might because it's tiny little spaces between it. But if not, what you want to do is you want to fill it in with a pencil. Pretend that's a pencil, and you want to fill it in with a pencil, just so there's no gaps. However, you want to be able to erase it, so that's why I'm saying pencil, not pen. If you use a pen, you're going to like kind of go against the very like artwork that was the artist has intended. So like reason I use a pencil is because then I can erase those marks again. All right, back to the beginning. Direct cut, save it to our machine, 12:6 recognition, lowering my lever to 1 and scanning it in. Okay, so I'm now doing the same thing we did. Gonna layer up some pine cones while I'm talking to you. Same thing I did. These are so cute. Oh, okay. Anyway, back to this. All right, let's see. All right, I just want to, that one. Okay, good. This is exactly proving my point. Exactly. All right. Let's talk about this. What's happening here on my screen? First of all, let's just zoom in and show you the ones that don't have the pencil mark. It went in, it went around the body. It would cut out this little line around the breast of the bird. It would cut out this wing separately. It would make a big hot mess. This little picture here would be a bazillion little pieces because it doesn't have, the gap has not been closed. Whereas this one where I closed the gap with the washi tape is only outlining the outside of the bird. So that's exactly my point, and that's why I did it that way. So let's just go ahead and cut out the ones that are, we could still ignore object size and get rid of the smaller bits. I'm not trying to get rid of the little tiny berries, but okay. And then we can also put a little outline distance around them. Hopefully the bottom one doesn't get cut off because when you put an outline distance, sometimes it goes into the bottom part. Okay, it looks good. And we're going to go ahead and cut out those pieces. I like the berries. They're actually good little embellishments. So I'm not deleting the berries. I'm just deleting this little part of the bird here. So if you want to use the pencil trick on all those birds, that's what you need to do on that piece of paper. And those are the only 3 I would bother cutting. Don't even bother cutting the other papers from the Nest of Winter because they make great card backgrounds, right? So go ahead and cut. And I'm still using a speed of 8 because this is really like an easy pattern. Now, if I was using a really detailed pattern, I would not use a speed of 8 because it would probably, could mess it up. See, they look cute, the little pine cones layered up. I would only use like a speed of 5 normally. But because this is a pattern that's really an easy pattern. Okay, so another thing that you could do, and we didn't do this enough either. We didn't have enough ice, and all the stores were out of power too, so they didn't have ice either. And the ice machine down at the corner didn't have ice or water in it, I don't think. Maybe it had water in it. but it had no power to operate the ice machine. It's like one of those giant ice machines. Hello, Peggy Dickerson. Thank you for being a channel supporter. Okay, so, yeah. Anyone from... Oh, look at this. You guys know all about your... Yeah, anyone from Puerto Rico knows how this is. Okay, Debbie Salinas is saying she was fortunate. Out of the 4 people, you were the only one that didn't lose power. Very nice. So anyway, one of the things you could do is like, if you don't, since we didn't have a lot of ice and all the food went bad. Hello, Diane H. from Prescott, Arizona. Mary Rock. Linda Hahn. Nice to see you. Thank you. You're very welcome. You can freeze like bottles of water. And if you freeze bottles of water, then you're going to have, you know, like something to keep your food cold. And just, they become solid. Well, first of all, you could drink them later, right? But then also you can keep your food fresh. Because like all our milk went bad and cream cheese and sour cream and ranch dressing and mayonnaise and I mean everything pretty much. We had to throw everything out. My cheese I just bought, which was still sealed, got moldy. And you know, usually cheese can be sitting out for a while, but it got moldy. All right, so isn't that cool? Okay, so the trick was, the point of this trick was, for this tip and trick was, you're closing the gap. If you don't, it's going to go inside and cut out the little wing and the thing and this and that and cut up this whole raggedy piece of paper and you're going to have a problem. But you saw the difference between the one where I used the washi tape trick. I'm going to call it the pencil trick still. Or you could call it the washi tape trick. But it's the same thing as using a pencil. It's just that I couldn't find a pencil, so I just put tape over the gaps. And you put the tape on the inside. So, you know, the nice thing about using washi tape is you don't have to erase it later. The bad part about it is that it could get stuck in your machine. In which case, you're going to watch my tutorial on how to get the tape unstuck from your machine. And there's tutorials on how to do maintenance on your machine. So these are beautiful. And now we have lots more embellishments. And these are similar to the ones you can stamp and cut out as well. So when you're going to stamp and cut out things or color with the blends, you just use the paper as your inspiration for what to color with the blends. And it's really nice too. All right. So let's put these up there and now show you the projects. All right, we're going to clear the deck here. Clear the deck meaning just put these here, like so you have room. I got to show you my, all right. You have now learned how to cut out the 3 pieces that I recommend cutting out using your ScanNCut. And you have huge embellishments like so. And then you have ones where you enclose the gap and then you get this. You have little berries, you have little layered embellishments because you have your backgrounds, you have these. So, you know, now that you have lots of types of embellishments, what can you make with all these beautiful things in your bucket of crafty goodness that you cut out using your ScanNCut? Well, I made 9 projects I'd like to show you using these stamp sets and these designer series paper and a couple other little products. Like I just got my paper pumpkin die, which is pretty cool. Pretty much all Stampin' Up stuff. You're going to get to see the color coordination. I hope that's all 9. All right, nope, there's some more. But wait, there's more. All right, so here we go. Just grabbing out this again. So, to refresh your memory, the Winter I'm having, oh, by the way, if you want to sign up for bingo and you're in the U.S., sign up by October 10th. But the bingo is on October 25th on a Friday night. Link in the description to my offerings. The first link is to my store. That's where you can buy this paper that, if you love this paper, please purchase it from my Stampin' Up store. Okay, and then, what else? Paper. Okay, but the paper is one thing you could buy. And then the bingo is a different kind of paper. That's what I wanted to tell you. We're going to be using this festive paper. All right, the sentiments I'm about to show you are from the Wintry Treetops stamp set, which is available now. It's a cling stamp set. And Christmas labels. It's a new bundle. You're going to love the dies for that. So I'll show you. And then I pretty much just used other coordinating products. So let's just pick them up one at a time and kind of show you the glimmer, shimmer, fun stuff right on it. So this one is using the technique that I showed you here with the bird and the layering. And you can see I put Castella on those. That's just this little pen that you can get from my Stampin' Up store. Just a little glitter pen. Okay, with Castella. I'm using the Earth Tone gems and the twine for this card. And you could see why I don't cut out these background papers. I just use them as, the backgrounds. And then this is the dies. I love these dies that came with Christmas labels. But the Thinking of You always is from Wintry Treetops. So that's card number 1. And then what I did for the inside is this. I took it and I used the garden green. And I just took a stripe of the paper, the same size, 3/4 of an inch stripe from out there, and put a piece on the inside and made the card blank. This is a great sympathy card, or just a card anytime you're thinking of someone. All right, friends, a friend like you brings me happiness. Stamped it in cherry cobbler and used the nested essentials dies. I believe it's called nested essentials dies. This is the layering of one, and this is not layered, but I popped them up with dimensionals, used Wink of Stella, okay, and used this sentiment here. A friend like you brings me happiness, and some twine behind that layer. And that's how I did that card. Okay, so that's number 2. Did I already show you? Wait, I gotta show you the inside. Here's the inside. Okay. Now let's put that over here. I'm gonna put them over here when I'm done because I don't want to keep showing you the same card over and over. Put that one over here. And then next card is going to be, here, we'll do this one next. Okay, this is one of those giant ones that I just showed you how to cut out. And then layered up some little twigs and sprigs and a pine cone and put some gems on there. And this little die is from the one that I'm focused on this month. It's the bundle that goes with the greetings of the season. This is an online exclusive bundle, and I'm focused on it for the month of September and October on my channel. We'll try to be on late night doing one of these tutorials after I do my card club, because card club is ending today. So anyway, that's where I got that die. And it fits the Thinking of You Always, which is from this sentiment here. So if you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't look like the same size. Sometimes because of the artwork on the cover of these stamp sets, the sentiments, see, I didn't even have to use these guys, right? I didn't even have to use those birds because I just cut them out of the paper. Anyway, I used the sentiments. And see how they're bigger than the ones on the outside of this, which I love big sentiments. Can't lie. Love big sentiments. Sometimes I get annoyed at the artists when they make small sentiments. I'm like, what are they thinking? All right, for this one, I created an easel card. I'm always, again, using coordinated Stampin' Up! Products, and this one is no different. I used the Knight of Navy, and I created an easel fold card. Now, this one brings together almost all the products from the suite. You have your designer series paper. You have your dies. There's the dies, meaning this is the little sprigs I got from the dies, the little pine cones, and you have your gems. I mean, you just have a lot of stuff going on. This is the rectangular postage dies. They're called perennial postage dies. And for this one, I wanted to stamp onto the DSP with cherry cobbler because I thought it would be a better contrast on the back of the birch because the birch has some white in it. And I wanted that to contrast. So that's what the easel fold card looks like. And I have it held up with the little sprigs or the little pine cones. All right, sending thanks and much love is right from here. And it fits on there. Okay, now I'm going to show you a tag. So are you a Paper Pumpkin subscriber? That's the question. If you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, write yes or write Paper Pumpkin in the chat because this is a new die that's fantastic. This one is also, I think, from one of the Paper Pumpkin kits. But this little new guy, here, I'll show you what I did. In fact, if I still have it in here, let me see. I don't know if I brought it inside or if it's still in my house. Yeah, I think, anyway, someone might be able to tell you the name of this die, but it's like Merry Tags and More or something like that. But it's a new little die to make these beautiful little tags. I'll go ahead and show you both my tags. And I just got it and just love it. Paper Pumpkin got your new die. Yeah, what's the new, Karen Tharaldson, what's the die called? Merry Tags? Look at this little die. Here it is. There's one with the big hole in it. So I absolutely love this new little die that only Paper Pumpkin subscribers can get. And it came with 2 other dies in it as well. But I didn't even use the little sprig. So Peace on Earth and Be Merry are from here. Christmas labels. But I've used the birds. So I got Peace on Earth and Be Merry. But the birds are from the ScanNCut. Now look at that nice way to do it. Even though we could have, stamped a bird right onto the tag. Look at how cool it is to have a little 3D going on with the bird glued onto the tag. And then this one is like the way make sure when you die cut your tag, this is your little tip when you're cutting your tag, make sure your bird is showing in the back. So don't cut off all the birds, even though you have a place for like to write a message. And then I use garden green. And then this is that new fun snowball ribbon. Oh, it's not called snowball ribbon. Is it called snowball ribbon? It's something pool party ribbon. It's this really cool ribbon. It goes with the snowman suite. All right, now this die is fantastic too. Now this die has the top and bottom that look the same, but I cut the bottom of it off. And it's the dies that go with the Christmas labels. In fact, let me see if I have them so you can see them. There might be over here. Yeah. I thought I had them. Oh my gosh, they're such great dies. All right, here, this might be them. Christmas labels dies. So even though I'm a ScanNCut aficionado, or whatever you want to call me, ScanNCut expert, right? I know that dies do a better job than the ScanNCut, you know, for certain things, like intricacy especially. And this is a great way to use up your scraps. So these Christmas labels dies, I'm really, really happy with them because I thought it was going to cut everything into a bazillion little pieces like this, cut out the middle of that, cut out the middle. No, it's great that it doesn't cut out the middle because when it doesn't cut out the middle, you end up with this really cool effect where you don't have to like paper piece everything back together, but you can also go 3D with it. See, but you could poke up all the sides and go 3D without cutting out the middle. I really like that. And then this one, we'll show you that one next. But this one is the one I was trying to show you. Okay, so love this. And in each card that I'm showing you, like for this one, I did something for the back where you could, you know, write a message, and that was my easel card. And then all of these, I have something on the inside, you know, so some kind of paper. So like here, you know, just a little border on the bottom. So sending thanks and much love with the birds and all the little layering and all the stuff. Put a little Wink of Stella on the bird. All right, you saw those. All right, what else? We have a couple over here, and then that's it. So we got these two. A friend like you brings me happiness. Now, this is a little couple of like what we got cardinals, right? It's a little couple, but they could be friends too. I know I'm friends with my hubby. So, hello, Lisa Tabor. Okay, let's see. Sometimes I just cut another out of white and glue it to the back. Yes. Okay, so she's saying for the tag, you could cut out another tag out of white and just glue it to the back for thickness. All right, just do an extra layer. That's a great idea. And then you have like your special tag. All right, so here's another one. And the last one. So that was, you know where I got that sentiment from. And then this last one, Peace on Earth. I took the die from where I told you I got the same die over here from, the little circle from the Greetings of the Season bundle. That little same die, I just cut one out in garden green. And then that's a deckled rectangle. And then layered, yeah, the ephemera. So thank you for being a channel supporter, Karen and Peggy. Oh, she ordered next month's kit, 2 of them. Peggy, I don't even know what next month's kit is. I haven't even been looking at what next month's kit is, and I might have put it in my newsletter, but in a zombie trance. All right, so that's all. This is another way of using your twine on your cards. It's another way of using up your DSP, matching your DSP from the outside to the inside, layering up. I mean, having these embellishments, I hope you understand that like that takes your cards to a whole new level. There's not even a comparison between trying to cut these with scissors and trying to cut these with the ScanNCut. This is just so smooth, and the edges are so curved, and it looks so beautiful. And you get the, you know, the right amount of white space on the outside as you do all around them. So I hope you'll think about getting this paper and cutting out a few packs of it for your embellishments, getting the stamp set for sentiments, or using, you know, this other one, and just having some fun making some of your holiday cards. You now got to see how I used the Designer Series paper to cut out individual embellishments, layered embellishments with extra cardstock behind them, and how we use the pencil trick to enclose any gaps. Like, for example, this little gap on the head of this little guy. Incidentally, if you were to cut out the stamped image, if you didn't have the dies, which, because you can't get them right now, they're not in stock, you can use the pencil trick on those as well, the same way I used the little washi tape trick on this little bundle. All right, so that is all for now. This is a Paper Chef. I hope to see you back here later with the iconic celebrations paper and the card club, which we're finishing up the last cards for the Merriest Trees. I'm just going to go ahead and try to do one video with both cards in the same video and make them a little different than my samples and just go for it. So you'll see me back here tonight with the Merriest Trees, and then maybe tomorrow or later tonight with some more of our Greetings of the Season projects. So there's a lot going on my channel. Stay tuned and click on the little bell for notifications so you won't miss any of them. That's all for now. This is the Paper Chef. I appreciate you watching. Have a great evening.